Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well. Happy New Year. I'm really excited to be back, and for my first video of the new year, I'm going to be sharing with you all of my favorites from 2021. These will be all of my beauty favorites from last year, all the things that I used and loved the most. And I'm really excited for this video. Also, I dyed my hair blonde. It's been a while, but I haven't shared on YouTube, but it's like all over my Instagram already, but I'm blonde now. It's still very weird, and like when I catch myself in the mirror, I'm like, whoa. But yeah, just wanted to quickly address that. But if you're new here, I would love for you to subscribe if you haven't already. That would mean so much to me, and I'm so excited for this video, so let's get started. Okay, I'm gonna start off with primers and move on with how I would apply my makeup normally. And if you want a separate video for skincare, please let me know. I'm not really skincare geared on this channel, but I would love to share those if you are all interested. So let me know in the comments down below if you want to see a 2021 skincare favorites, and I can definitely get that up for you, but just want your input on that before I make the video. So I don't really like silicone primers. Those are probably my least favorite type of primer, but I do like a hydrating glowy primer, or a primer that's really going to help my makeup last a long time. And I have three favorites here with me today. The first is the Ork Glow Lust. This is a really beautiful, almost hydrating kind of cream primer slash highlighter. Some people do use this as a highlighter, but I usually use this as like a glowy primer base. And I have the shade Pyrite. This is just like a very stunning all over glow on the face. I have really dry skin, so anything that can add some glow to my skin, some like healthy luminosity to my skin, I absolutely love. So this is a Glow Lust. I really loved this in the very beginning of 2021, and it's really good for pinpointing under your base for highlighting like on your cheeks or on your nose or wherever you'd like to look more luminous. So the next primer I'm going to talk about that was my favorite last year is the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. This is really nice because you kind of get that pore filming effect from this primer without that silicone-y feel. This is kind of like a thick cream and ends up moisturizing my skin. I do find that this is fairly moisturizing on the skin. It also is like a joy to apply because I do have dry skin. Anything that's like resembles a moisturizer I really like applying, and this is kind of like a thick balm moisturizer texture, but this did a really good job at lengthening the wear of my makeup and just really creating a very nice base for any makeup that I put on top of it. It's also such an affordable price, so that's really nice, and you get a ton of product as well. And then finally, I had to talk about the Milk Hydro Grip. This is such an amazing primer. This definitely took the beauty community by storm for a little while on TikTok, but this is a gel-like consistency. It definitely doesn't feel like moisturizing, but it feels like a gel moisturizer, if that makes sense. And this 100% helps with the longevity of makeup. It goes on pretty smooth, but then you can feel as you're applying it get tacky and quite sticky on the face, and that just aids in the longevity of makeup, which I really love. And it also has really good skincare ingredients in it as well, so I love a makeup product that also has skincare benefits in it. And I've just been loving the Hydro Grip line in general, but this was definitely a fave from last year for my primers. Okay, moving on to concealers. I am not a big concealer person, but I do have a few that I really liked last year. Because I have such dry under eyes, I have a really hard time finding concealers that work really well for my under eyes and that I love. But here are a few of them. So the first I want to talk about is the Undone Beauty Conceal to Reveal palette. I have the shade Almond Latte Medium, but I use this a ton in the spring and summertime this year, and it's very beautiful. I also like using this as an all-over foundation kind of base product, but this reminds me a little bit of the Glossier Stretch Concealer. It has that really nice thin stretchy consistency while giving really beautiful kind of almost dewy coverage. It goes from like light to more medium coverage down here, but I usually just mix it all together and I really like it under my under eyes. And yeah, I just really love this. Also another drugstore fave of mine, and I love Undone Beauty in general. They have a lot of beautiful base products, and I'll be talking about a couple more products from the brand in this video too. Another really big favorite of mine this year was the Tarte Shape Tape Glow Wand. This is such a beautiful under eye product. This doesn't like really give you any coverage on your under eyes, but it does make your under eyes just look so glowy and healthy, and I really love this on my no makeup days. I would pat this under my eyes and it would just liven my face up without adding any thickness or like tacky texture or anything under my under eyes. It's a really thin, beautiful, glowy consistency, and because I have such like dry, textured, eczema prone under eyes, I don't like anything too thick or drying, and this was perfect for my no makeup days. So this is definitely a favorite of mine. You can also double this up as a highlighter on your face, so I know a lot of people use this for that as well. Another concealer favorite are these Jones Road Beauty concealer pencils. I think they're actually called the Face Pencil. I have the shades 12 and 15, and again, I really like using these kind of as an all-over base and concealer product. These are a little drying, I will have to say. You really have to prep the skin before using these, but they're so beautiful. They're really easy to use and they're extremely compact, so perfect for traveling. But I loved these in the summertime. They were just so quick and easy and gave me really beautiful coverage all over the face and on the under eyes as well. So these were definitely a favorite of mine, and I had to mention because they're just so quick and easy to use. Okay, so kind of as a last concealer favorite and starting the base and like foundation products, these are the Glossier Stretch Concealers. These were a huge favorite of mine. These are actually in my project pan, and I still love using them. And whenever something's in my project pan and I still love using it after using it over and over and over again, I know it's a favorite. And every time I use this, I love it so much. It just looks so beautiful. It is the product I'm wearing as my foundation today, and that's my favorite way to wear these, is as a foundation. These just give you such a glowy, beautiful baby skin finish. The coverage is pretty decent and definitely better than the skin tint. What I've been doing lately is layering the skin tint with the stretch concealers all over my face as my foundation, and I really like that. But basically I just use these as foundations and obviously use the lighter shade as my under eye concealer. These are just so beautiful. Anyone who has dry under eyes or kind of textured under eyes, I think you would really like this because it really sinks into the skin. It doesn't emphasize any of my texture if I have it on my under eyes, and it just feels really hydrating as well. So these were a huge favorite of mine because they made my skin look really glowy and youthful and like healthy and luminous. So that's why I love these so much, just because I do struggle with such dry, kind of dry patchy skin. These were amazing for not emphasizing any of that and then making my skin just like look and feel really beautiful and glowy and healthy. Okay, now moving on to proper base products. The first that I want to talk about is the Ami Colé Skin Enhancing Skin Tint. I have the shade Medium 2, and this was such a favorite of mine during the summertime. It still kind of works for me now, although it is maybe like a shade too deep for me right now, but this is such a gorgeous skin tint. It has pretty good coverage for being a skin tint, and the texture is just so nice. It blends onto the skin really easily and just makes your skin look glowy and beautiful and healthy as well. That's kind of like the theme of the things that I like for my base products, and a little bit does go quite a long way for this, so you don't need too much, and it's just so easy to use. And again is the perfect kind of on-the-go skin tint because it just blends really seamlessly on the skin, and I love this one. I also love this brand. I really want to try their new mascara. Next up for skin tints, I have the Milk Makeup Skin Tint. This is the shade Medium, I believe. Yeah, it's the shade Medium. And this again is such a beautiful skin tint. This also has SPF 30 in it, but I never use it as my SPF. I always have SPF underneath all of my makeup and on the daily anyway. But this has gorgeous coverage, not too heavy, feels and blends really well on the skin, and I just loved this, and I love the way that this wore throughout the day. Just as the day went on, my skin just looked healthier and like better than when I first applied it. So this is definitely a big favorite of mine. Milk was a big favorite of mine in general. I really love quite a few of their products, but this one made my 2021 favorites, and I love that this is refillable as well. And finally, for base products, I have the Merit kind of like foundation concealer stick. I don't exactly know what this is called. Perfecting Complexion Stick. I have the shade Camel, and this is such a beautiful base product. I love stick foundations. That's one of my favorites. I had quite a few stick foundations in my 2021 faves, and I continue to love stick foundations and stick base products just because they're like so easy to use, they're convenient, they blend out pretty quickly, and I just love just drawing them all over my face. So this one was definitely a favorite of mine, and the color of this and the tone is absolutely perfect for my skin tone, and I really like this one. This one is a little bit thicker, definitely has a lot more coverage than the other base products that I talked about, but I think if you have a good hydrating base underneath, this will look so beautiful on you. And yeah, the packaging is beautiful. I do think that this is a little pricey, a lot pricey for how little product you get, but a little bit of this does go a long way, and it kind of doubles as a foundation and concealer, so you get a lot out of one product, if that makes sense for this product. But yeah, this was definitely a favorite of mine last year for base products. Okay, powders. So I am not a big powder person. I'm actually contemplating like getting rid of all of my powders except the two that I'm going to talk about today, because I have such dry skin that I don't usually powder. I do kind of get oily in my T-zone, you can kind of see that now, but my skin is fairly dry, and anytime I use powders, my skin just looks even drier, even cakier, and it's not something I prefer. So I'm not a big powder person, but I do have two favorites from the last year. The first favorite of mine is the Kosas Cloud Set in the shade Cushiony. This is a very beautiful powder. It's fairly thin, finely milled, and just like goes onto the skin really beautifully. It doesn't add any texture to my skin. It just perfectly sets my face without making it feel dry or cakey or anything like that. And I know a lot of people who do have dry skin really like this. So if you're a dry skin person and you're looking for a new powder, I would recommend this one because it's just beautiful, not heavy, and perfectly sets the face without adding any more dryness or texture to the face as well. Okay, next is the Pat McGrath Under Eye Setting Powder. This is the shade Medium. I didn't get this too long ago, maybe like two and a half months ago, but I love this so much. This is one of the most finely milled, soft powders I've ever used, and it just works so beautifully on the under eyes and all over the face as well. And I do prefer this one all over my face as opposed to the Kosas one. So I think that if anything, because I'm not a big powder person, I would just keep this in my collection and use this one up, and then just use this as like an all over face and under eye powder, because it's just that beautiful. Is not heavy at all on the skin, sets the under eyes and the face beautifully, and yeah, I just loved this one so much. Okay, now moving on to bronzers. I have a handful of bronzers that I want to talk about today. So I'll start with my most used because it's in my project pan, but it is the Butter Bronzer. Like I said before, if something's in my project pan and I'm still loving using it, then it's a favorite because I'm not getting tired of it even after using it as much as I possibly can. I think this is one of the older shades. It's the shade Bronzer, but this is so beautiful. A lot of people really love this bronzer for good reasons. It gives you a really beautiful kind of like satin finish, almost glowy bronzed look, and it's pretty finely milled, works really well. I'm using it today as my bronzer and kind of as like my nose contour as well. This shade works really well for me both in the winter and in the summer. I do like another couple bronzers for my summertime shade, but this one still works for me the entire year. Blends really beautifully on the skin, never looks like patchy or muddy or anything like that. So this one is a favorite. It is drugstore, but it's kind of spendy for a drugstore product, but I do like that you can find this at like Ulta and Walgreens and things like that. And sticking to powders, another powder favorite was the Vesca bronzer in the shade Kissed by Diony. This is such a beautiful kind of red toned bronzer on me, but I do really like red toned bronzers because it just brings out that like sun-kissed look for me. And this was my favorite in the summertime. It's such a beautiful shade. It blends really well on the skin. This brand particularly has a very inclusive shade range, which is really nice. And I love how sleek and simple the packaging is as well. So this one was definitely a favorite. I always love how my bronzer looks when I use this one, but specifically in the summer. I feel like I'm a little too light for this shade right now, but in the summer it's so beautiful. Okay, and then of course I had to talk about the Tower 28 bronzer in the shade West Coast. This was such a big love of mine this year, and especially in the summer and springtime. This adds the most beautiful glow to the face, and a lot of people might not really want to use this because it looks too shimmery, but once it's blended out on the skin, you just get this beautiful sun-kissed glow as your bronzer, and I love this one so much. I actually love so many shades from this line. This one was my most used and is definitely my favorite, but I also love Pacific Coast as an eyeshadow and also Lightly as a kind of contour bronzer shade. Best Coast is beautiful for kind of a red toned bronzer, and then I love Suncoast as a highlighter. So many faves from this Bronzino line, but specifically West Coast was a big favorite of mine from this last year. And then finally I have two bronzers from M Cosmetics from their So Soft line. I have the shades Summer and Terra. One is like a contour shade and then the other is like a proper bronzer shade, but this formula is so creamy, it's so beautiful, and it blends really well on the skin and kind of like finishes as a powder. It's definitely one of those like cream to powder finishes. It's a pretty thin formula and works really well. I think if you're new to cream products, you would really like these, and these would be very user friendly for someone who's new to creams. They're a little bit more spendy, but I don't think you'll be disappointed in them if you get them, just because they blend so well. They have such beautiful shades, and I have a few others of them that are my favorites from the blush line as well, so you'll see those in a little bit. But yeah, I think these are absolutely stunning. Formula is beautiful, and I love the sleek stick packaging as well. I also just love stick products in general. There are quite a few of them in my favorites, but definitely a big favorite of mine from this last year. Okay, moving on to blush favorites. I have so many blushes in front of me, so I'll start with the cream products. My favorites from this year were definitely the Phytosurgeons cream blushes. I have a favorites video from last year as well. I'll link it somewhere up here so you can see, but I did try and just choose products from this last year that I discovered and were newer to me, but there are a few things here that are from last year as well. And the Phytosurgeons Skin Sparks were in my favorites last year too, or last year too, but I did have two new shade favorites from this year. One of them is the shade Fervor. It's this really beautiful berry jam shade, and it is the shade that I'm wearing on my skin right now. It's such a stunning formula too. It's quite pigmented, so it works for a lot of skin tones, but it's really blendable, which also makes it work for a lot of skin tones. The shade range is stunning on these blushes, and I love so many of them. them, but Fervor was a new favorite from this last year and I absolutely love it. It's just like a perfect berry shade. Another favorite of mine from the last year was the shade Fume. This is a kind of like dusty pink on me. It's a lot more neutral and good for every single day. All of them are because they're so beautiful, but this one's really good in neutral for like more bold eye looks or if you don't want your blush to compete with anything else on your face. But yeah, this one's beautiful and I absolutely love it. And then my all-time favorite from Phytosurgence is the Skin Spark in the shade Inferno. This was definitely a huge favorite of mine last year, the year before that, since I've discovered it. This gives me a really beautiful kind of like sunburnt look. This on deeper skin tones is the most beautiful like neutral blush and I freaking love it. It works for so many skin tones and this one is for sure my favorite from the entire line, although they're all beautiful. But this one I love year round. It gives me that like perfect pumpkin cheek in the fall time, that perfect sunburnt cheek in the summertime, and if I use it lightly, it's like the perfect just like flush of color on my face in the winter. So this one was a huge favorite of mine. Another cream blush favorite is the Undone blushes. What are these called? Lip to cheek palette. So you can use these on your lips and cheeks, which is really nice. It kind of has the same setup as the concealers, so you get that like shade or like coverage intensity increasing from top to bottom, and these are beautiful. They really resemble the Tower 28 blushes, which I'll be talking about in a little bit, but these are so beautiful. They have so many beautiful shades. I'm really into pinks right now, so I'm excited to use the pink blush that I have from them in this formula. It's a really beautiful kind of balmy cream blush and it blends beautifully, has such a beautiful finish on the face as well, and if you like cream blushes, I think you would love this. Alright, since I already talked about these a little bit earlier, these are the Tower 28 blush Beach Please blushes. I have two shades that I liked from last year. I love the entire line, but these came out this year, these shades did. I also love Magic Hour. This is in my project pan as well and it's beautiful. But the shades that I liked this last year are the shades Rush Hour and the shade Power Hour. This one's a very beautiful kind of like light peachy shade on my skin tone. I'm not a big peach blush person, but I really love this one in the spring and summer. And then this one is a beautiful kind of burnt brownie mauve shade. It gives you a really beautiful like sun-kissed, sunburnt look as well, and this is the shade Power Hour, and I loved this one so much. This one is my favorite shade out of all of them. The finish is very beautiful. It lasts a really long time on the skin as well for a cream blush product. I have a long time love for all of these Beach Please blushes. Okay, moving on, I have the M Cosmetics So Soft blush in the shade Pearl Tea. This is such a beautiful shade. It's a very neutral kind of everyday shade for me. I love this one when I have no idea what to wear because it is so neutral on my skin. It just gives me the perfect kind of light flush on my face. It doesn't compete with my eye makeup or any other face makeup I have, so I know I can always depend on this shade when I have no idea what to wear. This has the same formula as the bronzers as well, so it's that really like thin cream consistency that finishes as a powder. They have so many beautiful shades in this range, but this one was definitely my favorite and most used. I love the rest of them as well, but I love M Cosmetics products so much. They kill it with all of their formulas, so definitely had to include the blush of the So Soft formula as well because it's just beautiful. Okay, and now I have two kind of cheek slash lip stains. I obviously had to include the Undone Water Blush in the shade Merlot. This was such a huge favorite of mine. I had a like month of using this almost every time I did my makeup. It is such a beautiful stain on the cheeks and lips. I love using this for both my cheeks and lips. It has this like really weird water sensation, like cooling sensation when you apply it, and it stains so it lasts all day long, which is really, really nice. And I love a multi-use product. I love a stick product. It's just so convenient. It's really perfect for traveling, especially if like you're doing some type of like beachy vacation, because this one just is easy to pack. It lasts so long and looks beautiful on bare skin. I just love this like red berry shade on my skin tone. It's beautiful. Something similar to the Undone Water Blush is the Benetint lip and cheek stain. This is such an OG product and I've loved this for years. I think this was in my 2020 favorites as well, but I had to include it in this one too because it does the same things as the Undone Water Blush. It stains the skin. You can use it on the cheeks and the lips, so you get a beautiful like bitten lip stain and bitten cheek stain. So I love this one so much. I have gone through 2 of these minis now and I finally purchased like a big size of it, but you need very little of this to get a good stain on the cheeks, so I love that for that reason. Again, perfect for traveling, especially if you have like a beachy vacation to go to, because it stains the cheeks and the lips and is really easy and just gives you a beautiful like flushed look. So loved this one so much this year, especially in the summertime. Okay, moving on to powders. I just have 3 powder blushes and I'll talk about my most used from this year because the other 2 I got pretty recently and are kind of short-term loves from last year, but I wanted to include them because I do really like them. This is the M Cosmetics Heaven's Glow Blush in the shade Venetian Rose. I loved this one so much for the summer and I wore it religiously. Maybe not the summer, like spring, summertime. And I wore it religiously. It's just so stunning. It looks really like gray in the pan and weird in the pan, but on the cheeks, it just has this kind of like red undertone to it that just brings out so much life in my face, and I think this works so well on olive skin tones, especially if you're my skin tone. I think you would love this blush so much. And the finish is beautiful, definitely like a glowy, luminous finish. I loved this on bare skin and on my no makeup days as well. And it just brought so much life into my face and made me look and feel really good. So I loved this one so much. You get a ton of product and the packaging is absolutely stunning. So those help me in my loving this because it's just the whole package of a beautiful blush with beautiful packaging as well. Okay, next up is the Pat McGrath blush in the shade Desert Orchid. I got this during, I think, the Friends and Family sale or the Sephora VIB sale. So I have not had this for long, but I love this blush so much. I love Pat McGrath products. They're very luxe. You feel really fancy when you use them. The embossing on the product is so pretty, and this shade is also like a perfect neutral blush shade for me. I can wear it with so many different makeup looks, and depending on like the lip that I'm wearing, it just brings out different shades, if that makes sense. If I'm wearing a more red lip, it looks more red on the cheeks. If I'm wearing a more neutral lip, it looks more neutral. I don't know, it's just a very versatile blush in my opinion. It does have that like kind of pearlescent finish, so you don't really need a highlighter with this blush, and the finish is so pretty, and it just like blends really well on the skin and is my first Pat McGrath base product, and I really love it. I'm thinking of getting other shades, but this one is perfect and I really like this one. If you're my skin tone, I think you would really love this too. Okay, another kind of luxe blush is the Dior Rosy Glow blush in the shade, I can't remember what shade this is. Oh, pink, obviously. But okay, this took me by surprise. I had no idea that this would look good on me. It's like this weird pink, bubblegum pink. I don't know, it kind of looks sickly, like a sickly pink in the pan, and I just didn't expect to like this on my cheeks, but I bought it because of the hype and the trendiness of it for sure. That's exactly why I bought it. And the packaging. Packaging is freaking stunning. But this looks so pretty on my cheeks, and especially now that I'm blonde, I really like pink blushes, pink lips, pink like eyeshadow, and this works so beautifully on my skin tone, and especially now that I'm blonde. I think if you're my skin tone and you thought that you wouldn't like this, try it because it is so beautiful. And also the formula of this is insane. It really gives you that airbrushed finish on the cheeks. It looks so good, and it also adds a glow to the cheeks even though it's a matte blush. I don't know the sorcery behind this, but it's amazing. And one of the things about this blush is it adjusts to the moisture on your skin, which I don't really know what that means, but it works because I really love it, and this looks so good on so many different people. It is a truly magical blush, and I love this one so much, and I cannot get over how beautiful the packaging is. Okay, the sun is slowly creeping in, so I apologize if the lighting changes. Okay, next up is highlighters. I wasn't a huge highlighter person in the last year, and I think that's because my base was so glowy that I didn't really need highlighter, but I have two that I want to talk about. And first and foremost is the Phytosurgeons Spectral Shine in the shade Dew of Dawn. This is such a stunning highlighter, and I have major pan in it, so you know that I love it. But this, I wore all the time. I wore it. I really did not reach for any other highlighters except the one that I got recently, but this one's so beautiful. It has a kind of like peachy finish, so it reminds me a little bit of Opal from Becca, which is also a longtime favorite and a holy grail of mine, but this is a lot more subtle, it's a lot more natural looking, and it lasts forever on the skin. It looks beautiful on no foundation base as well as on top of foundation. It is the most perfect highlighter, and I think if I were to pick one product that I loved the most from the last year, it would be this one, just because I really loved how my skin turned out every time I wore it. I loved that I could wear it with or without like base makeup on, and it just made me feel so glowy and beautiful. It has a very beautiful like candlelit finish, and it just blends so pretty on the skin. It doesn't emphasize any texture. It just makes you look so pretty and like healthy and good, and it is the highlight I'm wearing today. It doesn't compete with any other products either. It just kind of like makes you look candlelit and beautiful. So I loved this one so much. They recently reformulated it, so it's a little bit easier to use, but regardless, it's the most beautiful highlighter, and I loved it so much. The other highlighter that I really liked from last year is the Makeup by Mario highlighter. This is also a bit newer to me. I've only had it for a couple of months, but it's so beautiful, and I feel like this is almost like a cream powder highlight. It is definitely a powder, but when you blend it onto the skin, it has almost a cream finish to it. It is not glittery, but it's very shimmery. It gives you this like really wet look on the cheeks, and you can sheer it out or you can really build it up if you want that blinding highlight. It's super versatile, which I love, and I've recently gotten into a little bit more powder products like those blushes I talked about and this highlighter, and I think the formula is just absolutely beautiful. This is the shade Golden, and it's stunning. I have it as my nose highlighter, and I love it. Okay, moving on to brows. I just have three products that I want to talk about for brows. The first is the Precisely My Brow Pencil in the shade 3.75. I'm kind of playing around with brow shades right now because of my blonde hair, but this one works really well. It is the shade I'm wearing in my brows now. You can't like super tell because of my bangs, but I love the texture of this brow pencil. It is a bit harder of a formula, and I love that this is a tinier pencil, so it's really easy to draw hair-like strokes in your brows, and it's not something that I go overboard with because of the texture as well as the fine point of this. And this is just the perfect formula, the perfect shade, and the perfect size as well. So I Really loved this one. And for brow gels and creams and things like that, my number one favorite was the Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setter. I discovered this, I think, spring of last year, and it is 100% a holy grail brow product for me now. I really don't think anything competes with this because it really holds my brows up. It gives me that really feathery shape, and it's perfect. I really love this, especially when I want my brows to hold and stay all day long. This is such a favorite of mine. It does kind of give you that like crunchy brow, but I like that because I know it's gonna stay all day long. On the days that I want a more natural brow and not so much of a slicked back brow, I really like the M Cosmetics brow cream. I have the shade Universal Taupe, and this is so beautiful. I also really love using this because using this is so joyful. I just have so much fun using the tiny little wand to sweep the product through my brows. I just really enjoy the process of using this product, and it's such a beautiful shade. It adds texture and color to your brows, so if you have more full brows, I think you would really like this as well. You can just sweep it through your brows and you get the hold, the texture, and a little bit of tint to make your brows look a little bit more full without overdoing it. So this was such a favorite of mine as well this last year. Okay, so I adjusted the camera a little bit because the sun is creeping in slowly, so I'm gonna try and quickly get through the rest of this. Okay, eye products. I loved these two palettes. They're both small, cute little palettes. First is the Kaja Bento Stack in the shade Velvet Dream. I love so many bentos. I have like 10 of them, but this one I loved the most last year. It is all matte actually. It is the eye palette that I'm wearing today. I love using this deeper kind of chocolatey brown shade on my lower lash line. It really brings out my brown eyes, and I loved this so much. I did so many looks with this. It's perfect for traveling. I love how it looks. I want to eat it. It looks like a little pastry or something. I don't know, but I've really love these. The shimmer shades on the bento stacks are incredible as well, but I did want to highlight this one because it was my most used one, and I think it's unique because it's all mattes, but perfect for traveling. I love the shade range of the bento stacks, and this one specifically. Stunning, beautiful formula. Love these so much. And then the other palette that I loved last year is the M Cosmetics Divine Skies Magic Hour eyeshadow palette. This is so pretty. I really love my eye makeup every time I use this. It's really easy to use every single shade as well, so you get a lot of use out of it. The shimmer shades are beautiful. The matte shades are beautiful. I think if you're into these tones, you would really like this palette, and the packaging is stunning. I just loved this palette so much, so I had to mention this. And now for single shadows, I loved the Phytosurgeons Flash Fluorescence last year, but they came out with new shades. This is their In Bloom collection, and I loved these as well. My most used shades were Fractal Freesia and Orchid Overload. I'm wearing Orchid Overload on my eyes right now. I don't know if you can really see, but it's this really beautiful like sparkly wet shimmer glitter topper, and it's so beautiful. It was perfect for the holidays. All of these were. I loved wearing them to any type of event that I went to, or just if I wanted a little sparkle during the day, kind of like today. They're beautiful. They last all day long, and they blend really easily. They're a really thin formula, so that's really nice, so they don't feel like super heavy on the eyes either. And then I also loved the shade Defiant Dahlia. This one was really nice for going out. Yeah, I just love the finish of these. They're such a beautiful formula, and they add the perfect amount of sparkle to the eyes as well. Okay, mascara. I had a few mascara favorites of mine. One of them was the Maybelline Full and Soft. I used that up though, so I don't have it with me anymore, but that one was a big favorite. And then I have two other favorites. It is the Maybelline Lash Stiletto, all waterproof. All of my favorites are waterproof except for one. And then I also loved the L'Oreal Telescopic in waterproof. Both of these are absolutely stunning. I love them so much. They give me really like lifted, lengthy, voluminous lashes. This one's definitely more lengthening than this one. This one's a lot more volumizing, but both are beautiful. And then I have the Glossier Lash Slick as my lower lash line mascara. This one's really nice because it doesn't smudge or smear on my lower lash line and is really easy to remove at the end of the day, so love this one as well. Okay, now finally we have lip products, and then I have one setting spray to talk about. Let's start with lip liners. I have 4 favorites from last year. 2 of them are Charlotte Tilbury, and the first one I want to talk about was probably my most used of this last year. This is the shade Pillow Talk 2 Medium. It's what I'm wearing on my lips right now as my lip liner. This is such a beautiful, beautiful lip liner. It lasts forever on the lips. I know I can always count on this for if I'm gonna be eating with this lip liner, it'll still be there at the end, or if I have like a longer hangout with friends or like something I'm going to. This is such a beautiful lip liner because it lasts so long. The shade is beautiful. It doesn't emphasize any dryness on my lips, and I absolutely love this. I want to find more shades that I really like because I love the formula so much. And a shade that I love even more than Pillow Talk is the shade Love Trap. So I first fell in love with Pillow Talk and I was like, okay, I need another shade because the formula is amazing. And I decided on the shade Love Trap, and I like this one even more because it has kind of a more muted finish than Medium 2, Pillow Talk Medium 2. It's a little less berry and more neutral on my skin tone. It is so beautiful. If you're a similar skin tone to mine, I highly recommend Love Trap and Pillow Talk Medium 2. They're just so beautiful, super long lasting. I think the best lip liner formula on the market. If you know of anything better, please let me know and I will definitely try it out because I am super into lip liners, but loved this one as well. And then I also love the Fit Glow lip liner in the shade Root. This is a lot deeper than the other 2 shades that I just showed you, but this one kind of like blurred out on the lips is so beautiful. This is also super long lasting, so that's another reason I really like this one. I love this shade. It gives me a more, not vampy, but just like a deeper lip line, and sheared out is beautiful. Looks really beautiful under more of a like sheer nude gloss as well. So had to talk about this because I absolutely love this one. I love this alone on the lips as well. I actually love all the lip liners I'm going to talk about alone just as an all over lip color, but really love this one as an all over lip color. And then finally for lip liners, I loved the M Cosmetics lip liner in the shade Kitten. This is not nearly as long lasting as the other 3 lip liners that I talked about, but this one blurs the lip line so beautifully. If you're someone who likes overlining your lips, I think you would really like this. It's really creamy on the lips, beautiful all over lip color. I kind of like use this as a lipstick almost because it is a little bit longer lasting than a lipstick, but really creamy, like a lipstick texture. So I loved this one so much, and the shade is beautiful. I have a whole swatching video, so I'll link that up somewhere as well for you to check out if you're interested in that. But yeah, this is my final lip liner that I really loved. And now moving on to lips, I will start with like a lip balm. This is, well, it's not really, I mean, it is a lip balm, but it's also like a lip color. This is the Glow Recipe Lip Pop in the blueberry shade. I love the watermelon one as well, but this is one of those pH changing lip balm things, and I love this one so much for when I'm like getting ready in the morning or when I just need to slap on a quick color and not worry about it. This one's perfect. I have pretty non-pigmented lips. They honestly like blend right into my face and they look almost gray, and so whenever I use this one, it really brings a lot of life to my face and makes my face look really healthy. I love this one so much, and it smells incredible. So I had to mention this one. This one is like always in my purse and I carry it around wherever I go because it's very dependable. And now for my first like lipstick product, I guess. This is like a lip balm gloss lipstick hybrid. This is the Glossier Ultra Lip in the shade Trench. This is such a beautiful shade. I love the formula of this. It's this really like beautiful balmy kind of almost glossy finish, and the shade is so beautiful. It's a really good everyday My Lips But Better shade for my skin tone, and I like quite a few other ones, but this one was my most used. I'm actually almost like done with this. I just have this much left. I'm probably like 2/3 of the way done with this, and I just knew that this had to be in my favorites because I used it constantly and I love the shade and formula of this. Okay, now moving on to lip glosses slash like liquid lip balms slash lip oils. I have 4 favorites to talk about. This is the Tower 28 lip jelly in the shade Wild. This was limited edition, but I wanted to mention it because it was very well used by me. You can kind of tell how much is used there, but this one's very stunning. It is the lip shade that I'm wearing right now. I love the formula of these. If you've been watching me for a while, you know this is my absolute like holy grail lip product. They're so nourishing and I loved this shade. I mean, I finished like 4 of these this last year. You can see all of these. These 2 are finished. And then I have just this much left of this one. So these are a big favorite of mine, but specifically that shade Wild I really loved last year, so had to mention those. And then also I love the Merit lip oils. I think these are called Shade Slicks, but specifically I loved the shade Sangria. This one was a big favorite of mine as well, and I love so many shades from this line, but I used this one the most. This one is a very like punchy red lip for me, but it's pretty sheer, so it's like my lips but better, but on the red spectrum, if that makes sense. Love this formula. It's super comfortable. It's pretty nourishing as well, and I absolutely loved these in general, and specifically the shade Sangria. And then finally I have the Fit Glow Beauty lip serums. These are such an amazing formula. They're pretty pricey, but I think they're worth it, especially if you find a shade that you really like. They last a pretty decent amount of time, and they add such a beautiful tint to the lips while nourishing them as well. I have the shades Koi and Root. These were my favorite from this last year. I have a lot of their lip serums, and these 2 stood out the most for me. I love the shade Koi with the lip liner Root, or any of the other lip liners. It's this really pretty peachy kind of nude shade on me. And then the shade Root is kind of like a red berry on me, and I love them both so much. They are so nourishing, they really fill the lip lines in, and they are beautiful shades. Okay, and then finally I have to talk about 2 more things actually. One is a setting spray. This is the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Setting Spray. This is incredible. This works so well at making your makeup last all day long. It helps a lot with mask transfer as well. So highly recommend this one. Such a good product. It works. And then finally, had to talk about this. This is the Freck XL Faux Freckles. I didn't want to forget this one because I use this almost every single time I do my makeup. This is what I'm wearing right now as my freckles, and it's just so good. There's no other faux freckle product out there that competes with this one. The shade is beautiful. It lasts so long on the face. I find that other freckle pens or freckle things like this do not last a long time on my face. This one lasts all day long. It gives you the perfect faux freckles. I usually just put it over my normal moles or like freckles that get covered up by my makeup, and it just really makes your face look a lot more dimensional. It brings more, I don't know, oomph to your makeup look as well. So I had to talk about Freck because this is an absolute favorite. I've already repurchased it because this one's almost done, and my absolute favorite freckle product ever. Okay, so we're finally done. That was all of my favorites from 2021. I hope I'm not forgetting anything. If you want me to do a skincare favorite or a brush favorite as well from last year, please let me know and I'm happy to do that. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions. I would also love to know what your favorites from last year were as well, or if we shared any favorites, let me know in the comments down below. Would love to chat about all of our favorites from last year. And a big thank you for all of the support from 2021 as well. I love this platform and this community so much. You all mean so much to me, and you really helped me get through the pandemic. So thank you for being here and thank you for supporting me. and I hope you're having a good day or evening wherever you are. I'm really excited for the content to come for 2022 and love you all so much. Thanks again for watching this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!